So somebody sent me a video this morning. Looks like some leaked footage from the lunar missions, behind the scenes showing the camera crew giving direction to these astronauts as far as the movements they should make and things like that. Just cracking jokes, little behind the scenes bloopers and all that. Now, if you watch my channel or if you've been around for any amount of time, you already know that I don't believe in the moon missions, and that's because the idea of them being able to put a man on the moon 50 years ago and that they haven't gone back. There's the inconsistency saying that they destroyed the technology and it's a painful process to build it back, although in the meantime they've been siphoning billions and billions of dollars from taxpayers. As far as these so-called space agencies, NASA in particular, alone has pulled in billions since then, obviously, and they haven't gone back to the moon. So, having the technology back then to do it, but it's like 50 years later, everything has advanced in technology since then, but they just can't seem to get back to the moon for whatever reason. So yeah, I got this video, and this seems to be from Wikileaks. And anybody who knows Wikileaks knows that they've never had to retract a statement. They put out more accurate information than the mainstream media. But hey, anyway, let's just go ahead and get into this video.
The world's media combined. Picking up the load. Trying to get the radio gauge. Light them all up.
Showing behind the scenes.
I think that's awfully good. That one, the one before, was pretty good. Did we have about 15 seconds? Oh yeah, you got a lot of time. Yeah. I claim this land in the name of. What you got now?
All right, wait. Okay, so you can see right here. What you're gonna see in this video is how these astronauts are gonna be kind of walking around seemingly on their tiptoes, and that's because the strings right here, you can see the strings above their heads kind of coming out of these little packets here. You'll see the light reflecting off of the strings because they're being pulled by these things. They're on a stage here. This is obviously fake, and you're gonna see a lot of that. That's another red flag right there. It's one of those things that these people have to continue to ignore if they're going to keep pushing this globe propaganda, like these professional wannabe flat earth debunkers. They ignore things as simple as water finding its level, and then they'll ignore these obvious things like the moon landing being fake, because you can see right here these guys have these wires coming from their outfits and all that. So
now move.
there he is with the strings again. There you go. See the light reflecting off the strings again right there. Looks like they're out in the desert. Print that.
Once more, please. Otherwise, let me walk it.
Okay, wait, let's stop this. Okay, there's one of the astronauts with a camera here out on the moon, and well, they had to take a camera out to the moon. They would have you believe that anyway. Okay. That sound gets annoying after a little while. And they're out with this dune buggy. See, what they did, they recorded it and then they slowed it down when they brought it to the public. They recorded it at normal speed, and then afterwards they do some editing, slow it down to half the speed, so it looks like they're moving a lot slower than they really are. But that's been broken down so many different times. I'm messing around with the zero-G planes and all that.
Exactly right, and it has to be. We have to be high enough so that we've got you against blue sky and not against Earth.
Okay, so you see they're talking about how they're going to get this shot right. We have to get you high enough. See, I'm saying the guys giving them directions on how to film this. Here, let's go back.
Exactly right, and it has to be. We have to be high enough so that we've got you against blue sky and not against Earth as you're coming in. You're coming in a descending approach as you get in. Over. We can rehearse it. Said go back and we'll rehearse it and see how it looks.
Go back and we can rehearse it to see how it looks. Okay.
Ready? And action. Excellent.
Little helicopters and all. Helicopters gonna come back around. There we go. Oh, okay. So what it looks like they're doing here with the helicopters is like they're filming the footage from when the lunar lander was supposedly approaching the moon's surface. So they're just flying over this area, recording, and then they're gonna superimpose the lunar lander in at a later time. I believe that's what's going on here. Let me see. Yeah, so that's the helicopters filming the flyover. And that's the footage they're going to use. Action. There's those wires again. It's a major production here, so we had to have a rather large production team. Okay, so this kind of, you know, and this answers my question. Basically, you know, one of those simple things to look at it in the whole moon landing debacle is when they got there and somebody's actually filming the first steps on the moon when Neil Armstrong comes down. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Like who? It pretty much points out that the camera crew was there before they landed, and somebody set up and was ready to record as soon as he came down that ladder. unless, of course, you want to believe that in addition to building the lunar lander, they also had the forethought to say, you know what, we need to find some way to build a mechanical arm with a camera attached to it, that when they land, that arm is going to extend itself out and then turn the camera around and look back at the lunar lander so we can record these astronauts taking the first steps on the moon. If you want to go with that, it's a little far-fetched, but this is the type of stuff that you would have to believe in order to continue in this fantasy of thinking that man actually landed on the moon. But let's go.
Just a second, Mark. Right there. Love you. This is a hell of a time. That's right. We're in a little deep now. Right. Let me tell you.
I said we're in a little deep.
We're rolling. Stand by. We go. Marker. Right now. Get down. Beginning. The third deep.
Yep, looks legit. Right? Okay, so this is the part where they're trying to get the shots down of the lunar lander from that distance in order to, get the shots that they're going to serve up to the public. Yeah, so you're going to hear him talking about
Why isn't the beauty of this place is just absolutely incredible.
he's reading the script. Beautiful place here.
There's another spectacular view. The pilot who missed the crater. Watch out. Watch out, John. See, it's on the crater. I think that's something good.
That's them training underwater.
Six on this one. It might tap hit.
And again, the whole idea of these astronauts training underwater in order to go out into space, I mean, water, there's water pressure that they have to deal with being in this large pool doing this training for space, and they're supposed to be out in space wherein space is a vacuum, so the water is actually pushing in on the spacesuits, and if they were out in the vacuum, they would be pulling outward. Like it's counterintuitive. It really doesn't make any sense. More of the flag blowing in the wind, which that isn't supposed to be going on, obviously. More with the wires. See that again. I didn't even bother to pause it. Looks like the helicopter taking off.
The Apollo program are, and a symbol of mankind that we can live in peace and harmony in the future. Rather than even say anything about the, I like to keep the stuff in absolute. Peter is coming up now. I'll tell you what about the top. That's right.
Meanwhile, back at the soundstage. It's pitiful.
Rehearsal, guys.
Rehearsal.
Ready and action. Altitude will go high. I think it's been almost 10 years since we've been trying to do this.
Oh, that looks so bad.
Pitch forward, got a really good. You're looking great.
What?
Coming up 9 minutes. I understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Peter has put a mark back there where he wants to land. What it was now. 5.5 It's a car. Forward. Did you get spot pushing out? Right. Yeah, that's all right. Command override off. Engine arm off. 113 is in. Man on the moon.
They're joking about it.
Okay. Ready? And action. What do you think? Well, it's not a good idea. What were you going to do? Right now, Jim, that was better. Forget it. You know what I'm saying? This is his shot, right? Only then, what are you going to move around another master? I'm going to get in closer. Oh, no. This sequence right here. Yes. Picks it up from there. We're going to proportionally back. As the scene progresses, because I don't think you can divorce this conversation. We just came out. My mind's telling me this. You react the way we would react to seeing this.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. But yeah, and what you can see up here on the upper right, you can see the lights. I mean, they're in a sound stage. They're obviously in a sound stage. They didn't go to the moon. They can't go to the moon now. They couldn't go to the moon back then. And anybody still believing this stuff is kind of behind the curve. Anyway, just wanted to share this video with you. I'll see if I can find a source link for you. Check it out on your own. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to put that out there. Thanks for tuning in. As always, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. Don't believe the hype. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.